right, good morning and welcome to the agenda on Dominion Brokers Group. My name is Chike Ubogu. Today on the agenda, we'll be tackling a topic that affects millions of Nigerians, and that's the rising number of house agents and the alarming increase in house rents across the country. But we'll streamline it to Ibadan. But before we do this, let's look at this. Stories from yesterday. The remains of former President Muhammadu Buhari were on Tuesday laid to rest in his hometown, Daura, Katsina State. The solemn ceremony drew dignitaries from across the nation and beyond. Buhari served Nigeria both as a military head of state and democratically elected president under the platform of the All Progressives Congress. Although reactions have continued to trail his death, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the ruling All Progressives Congress now must prepare for the 2027 general elections without the political influence of the late president. Whether you like it or not, he has won. Buhari's exit came amid the unveiling of a political coalition under the platform of the African Democratic Congress, the ADC. The coalition is led by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amechi, Nasir El-Rufai, Peter Obi, amongst others. The opposition has sworn to unseat Tinubu in the 2027 general elections. How feasible is that? Will that work? Well, for Buhari, he contested 5 presidential elections between 2023 and 2029. He lost 3 times in 2003, 2007 and 2011 before finally securing victory in 2015 and again in 2019. However, the deceased president had maintained a steady score of 12 million votes in most of all the elections he contested. Many watchers believe that Buhari's exit, seen as the rallying point of the All Progressives Congress, pointing to the strength of his political stature and followership, will have an adverse effect on the performance of the party in 2027. Well, the events of coming days will tell. Is Buhari influential? How influential is he? Will there be a lacuna, a void, especially in the 2027 elections, especially the build-up? Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. Time will tell. And now to the topic of today. Looking at the number of house agents and the rising number of houses and the alarming increase in house rents across the country. Joining me this morning is the Vice Chairman, Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, Oyo State Chapter, ESV Ola Tani Bola, who will be exploring the causes, effects, and possible solutions to this growing problem this morning. Good morning. It's good to have you on the agenda this morning.
Thank you very much, Chike.
We're looking at the rising cost of house rents and the influx of so-called agents in the market. It's been worrisome. You are a member of the Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers. You are the Vice Chairman of your state chapter, as it were now. You used to be the secretary when,
yes.
Yeah, back in the day. Okay, now, are you worried that we have this rise in agents? Even my barber is an agent, you know. Even the hairdresser along the corner, you know, is also an agent. Everybody is an agent. Yeah. Are you not worried? Your institution is supposed to be the one, you know, having this stopgap, you know, checking house rents, lease, and all these issues. What is the problem with this whole thing, especially when it becomes so worrisome?
Thank you very much. Good morning to our viewers at home and Nigerians. Let me start by saying This is a period that we are mourning a past president, and we should give honor to whom honor is due. May the soul of President Muhammadu Buhari rest in peace. And to start with, I want to correct, it's not our institution, it's our institution, not institute.
Okay.
Nigerian Institution of
Okay.
Estate Surveyors and Valuers.
It's an institution.
Because it's an institution.
On its own.
On its own.
Okay.
So not just an institute.
Okay.
You know, institution has to do with a process of learning, getting certified, not just an institute.
Okay.
So that is that. Oyo State branch is a well-known, is the Paysetter branch where the institution started its first conference, and to date, we still hold that position as the Paysetter branch. And now to the topic. Let me start by saying a city where there is no law.
There is no sin.
There is no sin. So that will now go to the issue of regulation. When there is no regulation, we may not have people to say, if you are going to this, you are liable and you are a criminal.
So it will be an issue of
It's-
yam pepper scatter,
Yes,
scatter.
scatter, exactly. Let me start by saying, quoting Chinua Achebe, things fell apart,
And the center
cannot hold. But as far as that regulation on the agency of real estate is concerned, it has to do with center cannot hold, things fall apart.
Let me tell you a story. In the bustling city of Ibadan, Oyo State, where the streets hummed with traders, Okada riders, and students rushing to lectures, a young professional named Chike found himself in a need of a new apartment. He had just secured a job at a tech firm in Bodija and needed a decent place close to work. Mind you, it is not my own Chike, but another Chike. When the search began, Chike had heard stories about struggles of finding a good apartment in Ibadan. High agent fees, dubious landlords, and to-let signs that never seemed to lead to available houses. But determined to avoid stress, Chike reached out to an agent named Mr. Ola. Maybe not the Ola in the studio.
Of course.
Mr. Ola was recommended by a colleague. Ola was a middle-aged man with a confident swagger. He was always on his phone. He had a fluent English and also was fluent in the art of real estate persuasion. Mr. Ola assured Mr. Chike, he says, "Don't worry, my brother. I have many fine apartments for you. Just tell me your budget and I will show you the best." Is that line familiar for those who have been, moving from one place looking for apartments? Very familiar line. Very excited, Chike followed Mr. Ola to 3 different apartments. Remember, on each apartment he paid an inspection fee. How much is inspection fee today? Some pay as much as 5,000 naira per apartment for an inspection fee. He saw a face me, I face you in the Agbo axis, but it was too cramped and noisy. It took him to a self-contained in Songo. Decent, but the landlord demanded 2 years rent upfront. Wahala. Then, this cozy flat at Bodija, perfect, spacious, quiet, and within his budget. Chike was happy. He was thrilled. He said, "Yes, this one. I like this." Mr. Ola, the agent, grinned and said, "Good choice. Just pay the agency fee, 10% of the annual rent, and we can proceed." But there are some hidden issues. After paying the agent's fee and 1 year rent, Chike moved in happily until the real problem surfaced. What were the real problems? No light. The landlord hadn't paid the electricity bill in months. There was a faulty plumbing. The bathroom leaked into the neighbor's room. And all of a sudden, Mr. Ola, the agent, disappeared. He stopped picking calls. He kept on telling Chike, Oga, this is not my problem again. Talk to the landlord. But a frustrated Chike confronted the landlord, who shrugged and said, did the agent Ola not tell you? This house has issues. But since you have paid, manage it. But what are the lessons here? After weeks of back and forth, Chike fixed some issues himself and vowed never to trust an agent blindly again. He later learned from neighbors that Mr. Ola, the agent, had a reputation for hiding defects just to close deals quickly. We'll go to the morals of this story. ESV Tanigbola, you heard the story of a tenant, an average tenant in Ibadan, looking for an apartment. And so, let's discuss this increasing number of agents in Nigeria. What do you think has caused this surge in agency, everybody's collecting agency fee?
Yeah, thank you very much. Like I said earlier, that regulation is one of the problems. One of the problems. Not only the government this time around, is because it's only the government that have the right to regulate according to their own views based on professional advice. But in most cases, government at times tends to do things the way they suit, not seeking professional advice. And being a major part of the real estate sector, I want to believe our institution is prepared to partner with any government on the regulation of housing and its agency.
But when you look at it in the true sense, is it regulation that has made an influx of agents?
I said
one of the
problems.
Okay.
That is on the part of the government. Another thing is on the part of the property owners. Majority of the property owners want to have their property and get the construction costs within the limited time.
They want returns on investment.
Return on investment as if...
Sharply.
Like, can I have it ASAP? And that is why majority of them don't engage an estate surveyor and valuer to carry out a rental valuation of their property before even going into it. They want somebody that is ready to work based on their dictates. This is how much I want. Go act for me. And who is an agent? An agent is someone that has been appointed by a principal to act on his behalf.
Okay.
Regardless of our qualification or whatever that is expected. There is no due diligence when people appoint their agents.
Okay, so let's get it straight. An agent is somebody who is being appointed
by a principal to act on his behalf
on a property or any
other thing.
Okay, so if that's the case, it means these agents we have in town are legitimate,
provided the landlord has given them that mandate to act on his behalf.
Okay.
And that's why I said majority of our landlords, property investors, want in return on their investment as soon as
possible.
You are in need of it like yesterday. So due diligence is thrown into the air. Instead of conducting a rental valuation to know the prevailing rental value within that locale and in consideration of the apartments and facilities therein. For the mere fact that I have a property going for as much as 1 million per annum, doesn't mean all the properties within that neighborhood
Must
will command that same amount. No.
Okay.
The facility, there is one thing they call homogeneity of value. There is no two particular property that have same value.
Same value. Yeah.
There is no two particular property. Even if it is a terrace that has similar modular design and accommodation details, they may not command the same thing, because based on location, maybe one is facing the major road, the other one is, the side is facing the other side. So all these things are parameters we put into consideration when you determine the rental value of a property.
So basically what you're saying is that landowners and
property investors are part of it. Appointing someone who is not trained, 1, 2.
But you just said now that an agent doesn't need to be trained.
Let me tell you, I said it. But the most important thing is the fact that the government has not regulated that before you can appoint someone, that person must have this qualification, must have been trained to do this. It is not included. More so, I want to state that when people are appointing, they don't verify, is this person a licensed person? Because the federal government of Nigeria, through a gazette in 1978, that established Estate Surveyors and Valuers Registration Board of Nigeria. There is a register for all estate surveyors and valuers in Nigeria. These are people that are saddled with the responsibility. Unfortunately, the Gazette is so silent about the agency area, but mostly emphasized on the valuation aspects. So that is why you can't see anybody saying, okay, all these agents cannot come out and say they want to carry out valuation. They can't, because that area is seriously regulated.
So it means some of these agents provide a necessary...
No, I wouldn't know, because I'm not one. But the fact still remains that if they have not been encouraged by some property investors, they would not be that much.
But they've been providing necessary
Let me tell you something.
Service.
You said something. I'm not saying that, please.
Okay.
You said something that your Mr. Ola.
Yes.
Your Mr. Ola, because he met Chike.
Mr. Ola?
Yes, that your Mr. Ola.
That Chike went to me.
Chike went to.
That Chike went to.
Where that Chike, that your Chike went to.
Okay.
He gave you properties and was taking you around. See this.
He gave the Chike properties.
Okay, he gave the Chike property.
Yes.
And was taking him around, paying inspection fee.
Yeah.
We don't do things like that.
Okay.
When you engage us, the agency fee is a payment for the service render.
Okay.
Even if you are 20 on it, you don't have to collect more than 10%. When you collect that 10%, on our own regulation, in our professional ethics, you don't have right to collect beyond that 10%.
Okay.
So if you collect that 10%, even if it's 10 of you that is involved, it is within that 10%.
Okay.
Not that they will be telling you agency 40% or whatever. I have seen cases and they have been bringing it.
I'm still coming to the issue of commission.
So now, lastly,
percentage and all
now,
that.
lastly,
Yes.
I've mentioned I've talked about the
Government, and then
I've talked about
property
owners who are the real estate investors, and lastly, individuals.
Okay.
Individuals fall into the hands of these people because of curiosity. Like you mentioned in your story, you are willing to get a property within a cozy area. A cozy area. Fine. Seeing one, you didn't investigate further because you have seen what you actually love.
Based on desperation.
Desperation. And again, what stops you from confirming if that person is a regulated someone? That even if there is any act that is not professional, you can report the person. We have all these branches in the states, not because of anything, so that we can have access to the grassroots. Once you report any of our members, who is a member of Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, and Estate Surveyors and Valuers Registration Board of Nigeria, registered. If you report such person, that person have the tendency of losing his certificate, because the certificate issued to us and the registration is a property of the federal government and the property of the institution. You are only given to operate. So once you work with someone that is a professional that has an ethics to abide with, such person will not, I don't say not always, will not want to lose that certificate.
Now let's talk about your exploitation now.
Yeah.
Yes, these agents may provide necessary service by giving people houses. They show people houses. Now let's talk about the exploitation, which you started talking about. Agents will collect 10% agency fee, 10% legal fee, 10% caution fee, 10% another fee. And at the end of the day, you find out that they say, oh, 40%. Most agents now collect 40%. And that even makes these houses even more expensive. I think, I don't know, I was speaking with somebody some days back. Okay, maybe you were the one.
Yeah.
About an apartment at Amfani.
Yes.
A room self-contained.
A room and parlor self-contained.
A room and parlor
800,000
800,000 at Amfani. And then the agent will now want to collect 40% of that 800,000 naira, which amounts to about 320,000 naira. Then how much then goes to the landlord of the owner, the property owner at the end of the day? That's a rip-off on the side of the property owner and a rip-off on the tenant too. Then you want to ask again, is this not an aberration? Is this not a spite on the Nigerian institution of estate surveyors and valuers, that you people sit there and then you watch these people perpetrate this evil? Because people now no longer, if you look at the economy now, people cannot afford. The other day I saw a room and a parlor self-contained in an area close to Enelushosho, and a total package was going for 1,070,000 naira. And I asked myself a question: is this Aso Rock? Is this Wuse? Is this Garki?
Let me say something about that. That is something that a professional and a registered estate surveyors and valuer will never do. I said our activities, our fees are regulated. Even valuation is regulated. We have a scale of charges issued by Estate Surveyors and Valuer Registration Board of Nigeria. That is an agency of the federal government. An agency of the federal government. That means the federal government, in their own accord, is regulating the valuation. I don't know why each state of estate surveyors and valuers. Gone are the days that we have rent tribunals. Gone are the days that we have rent control committees. Gone are the days that we have land administration committees being handled by professional estate surveyors and valuers alongside with built environment sector professionals. But in most cases, all these things are not in place. And that is why some tenants will be in a property having defaulted, and you ask them, you take them to court, you will be spending another 6 months in court. How do you? So these are things that the government have to work around and get things done. On the issue of the arbitrary and skyrocketed agency fee, we don't do that as far as we estate surveyors and valuers are concerned. But the unfortunate thing is, when they are talking about agents, they don't know the difference between a registered professional and all these roadside.
Let me put you on the spot.
Yeah.
For example, within Iyagokun area of Ibadan, if one is going to get a 2-bedroom flat, how much should it go for? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yes. I can't tell you this is the particular amount because, like I said earlier, there is something they call homogeneity of.
Yes.
Based on location, based on type of property, based on facilities attached, based on the environment itself. Because there's one thing we called blight. The effect of adjoining structures or immediate environment on the value of a property. For instance, there is a property that is so nice, modern structure, with all the necessary facilities. Standard property. But there is probably a religious property beside it.
Okay.
It will not command the same value with the one that doesn't have anything to pollute
The
your
environment.
In most cases, even within our GRAs,
So
even within our GRAs, we now have lounge, we now have clubs.
yes, which is not supposed to be. But let me reframe that question again.
Yeah.
Where all things being equal, you have a standard 2-bedroom flat,
Yeah.
and then you have everything
Inside.
well set and all that within the Yagonku axis, and then homogeneity, blades, and all that considered. How much do you think that apartment should go for?
It's not about what I think should go for. Okay. It's about what the neighborhood commands.
Okay.
And averagely, because there is something we call comparison approach.
Okay.
This one is commanding this. We look at this, we realize that out of 10 lettings carried out within that neighborhood, this is the medium. Now let's look at this structure. What are the blights? It is through that we now determine, okay, sir, talking to the client, your property cannot command more than this amount. But in most cases, when you advise them, instead of listening or going by that professional advice, they would rather look elsewhere
For an agent.
For an agent who will give them that amount and even tell them, they can even tell the agent, that house, they let it out for 1.2 million. I want my own to be 1.5 because it has been 6 months ago that they let that one out. And these are the problems we as professionals, we are facing. When you advise a client, instead for them to respect that your opinion, because it's an advice, they can either take it or throw it into the bin. So you have no rule. There's nothing you can do about that.
So you talked about skyrocketing the other time. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why are rents skyrocketing? You've tried to give us an idea. It's, clients, property owners, and all that. But is it just inflation, or are there deeper issues that you want to tell us?
So I want to believe that every one of us, we are Nigerians. The economy of the country is really affecting many things.
Yeah.
The cost of construction is so high now. If you ask a quantity surveyor to tell you what's the current cost of construction per meter square, you will marvel. You'll be afraid. You will even think it's not possible for the middle class to even build, let alone those people who are the masses. So the economics dictate part of what is causing all this skyrocketed rent. And I'm sorry to say, but the property market is highly
Overrated.
Not because of anyone, but because of the effect of the government.
How?
In order to decongest the city center, what the government can do is to expand the city.
But that's what the Oyo State government is doing
It's trying to.
by opening
No,
seriously, Jordan Newtown, Secular Road.
Seriously, I want to commend the current government of the day. It's doing well. But when you don't have professional advice to things, it will definitely have, as good as that effect, it will have a ripple effect. Once professionals are engaged, you are into real estate. All these committees, I'm sorry to say, I have not seen an estate surveyors and valuer amongst the committee of the state to discuss it. Fine, our colleagues at the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, they are doing their very good work, what is expected of them. But it is not everything that a civil servant can do. There is need for proper orientation of the masses of the public. They need to know. So, again, they are trying to have expansion of the city. How well do we care for the people that want to migrate there? Through the provision of infrastructural amenities. It is not only road. Electricity is there. Drainage, not only tying the road. Drainage is very key.
Yeah. Security is key.
Security is key. Hospital is key.
Yes.
All this, you are trying to decongest the city center by expanding the city.
So there must be business areas.
There must be suburb. There must be growth poles. That's okay. In Ibadan is a multinuclear city rather. We have so many. That's why the fact that we have the CBD, Dugbe, Central Business District, Dugbe. We have so many growth poles. Iwo Road is one. Challenge is one. Ojo.
Yeah.
So nothing is saying is stopping the government from saying, okay, now that Challenge is congested and the suburb is congested, let's look at a place that is so close to this Akala Express. That place is another area. We have so many upcoming neighborhoods. Elebu is so built up now.
Yes.
Elebu is built up.
In fact, Elebu is almost congested.
It's congested, not it's almost. It's congested because it's already telling on the land value. Because you want to stay close to the dual carriage. You don't want to go inside because of the poor road.
Yeah, the bad road there.
People will be telling you, this is the amount I want to sell my land. Demand pool. It's another ripple effect of not having infrastructural facilities. But once the road is good, electricity is there, security is there, and hospital is there for them, at least peradventure there is need for them to quickly attend to some emergencies. People will not be disturbed. I can take my car, and we have people staying in Mowi and working in Lagos.
Yeah, of course.
Because of the good road, they can drive in. If we can do the same thing, it will help us a long deal.
Well, still talking about these land issues and high cost of rents in Ibadan. Some tenants say landlords increase rent arbitrarily, especially within the suburbs of Ibadan, even in Lagos and Abuja. Is there any legal protection over tenants on this, regulating the price? You were talking about rent board, rent control.
Rent tribunal.
Yeah, but do you think there could be a rent control board, as it were, in Nigeria?
Yeah, that is one area that it is very difficult for the government to enforce. Because you can only control. For instance, I would like to cite the example of Lagos. They were saying they should not be paying more than, they should be paying monthly. And I asked the question.
Who built the properties? The properties.
Is it the government? One of the days we have low-income earners scheme. In the recent time, we have not had that in Oyo State. We have been having GRAs. Can a civil servant afford a GRA if he wants to live on his salary? Seriously speaking, we miss a whole lot, and that is affecting every one of us. I said it earlier. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. But as far as Nigerian situation is concerned, its center cannot hold, things fall apart. If we have rent control edicts, it will work where there are alternatives for the masses. Government has built 500
low-cost housing scheme in one local government.
Each local government is having, let's say, 500. Each local government. That will be the congestion.
And then even need to be affordable.
So you cannot say, okay, pay and acquire. We want you to start paying this amount, and after so many years, there is an option of sales for you.
But that's another problem. Even those that are going to get those houses, how many of them have stable jobs?
When you are talking about job, Nigeria population keeps increasing. But we are not matching up to the demand of the increased population. So that's another problem. It's another problem. Maybe you have to invite an economist to come and analyze that. But as for one of the things that is causing the skyrocketed and high cost of housing is the population, demand pool, inflation. So, and we need to work, let's sit around, let's say surveyors and valuers, let's sit, how can we approach this? Economists, let's approach town planners, lawyers, as far as documentation is concerned, because lawyers, we have to do the documentation of any property.
Because we've heard people spend 50 to 70% of their annual income
On
house rent alone.
Yes.
House rent alone. So you can imagine someone whose house rent for a year, I'm just using an example, someone who earns maybe 60,000 naira in a month. And then in a year, that's about 720,000 naira.
Yeah.
And his house rent is 500,000 naira.
Yes.
Now, how do you expect
Even
that person to cope?
That 500,000 naira rent may likely be in a average class neighborhood, not inside any estates. We know we have the government estate and we have some estates that are developed by individuals, probably because of the layout and the cooperation amongst residents. They can say, okay, we want to name this place. They put gate and start calling it an estate in recent time. But these are the most prominent estates within the city now. You are staying inside one neighborhood along Akala Express, and because of cooperation, you can mount a gate to to probably bring to enhance the security.
Well, that's a discussion for another day, because I'll ask: is it legally right for you to gate a street?
It is.
Once you have agreed on a local government road.
Yes, once you have agreed within yourself, but the condition attached to it is that you have to make provision for access and exit at any point in time. Okay. That means there must be someone to man it. Okay. You must engage somebody to be there always. Not all these barriers that you want to probably take someone in case of emergency, you want to take them there. They have locked the gate and no one to man it. No, there must be someone. If you want to improve on your security in the neighborhood, not to stop you. The police you have to approach the police. They will grant you approval and they will give you conditions attached. And in most cases, it's going to be a decision of the general meeting of the residents that will be communicated to the police.
That there will be a consensus.
So yeah.
Okay, so before we go to 2 more talking points, let me ask you briefly. When it comes to getting a tenant or getting an apartment for a tenant, what differentiates you between, what differentiates the institution of estate surveyors and valuers from the average agents on the street?
Yeah, thank you very much. That is why in most cases our start starts from the consultancy.
Okay.
We start from the advisory role.
Yeah.
When you come into my office and you tell me you need an apartment, there is something we start to be on the good book of our client, who happens to be the real estate investor, the landlord or the land, and the property owner, or even the tenants. Because in our own training, when we are with the landlord, we represent the tenant. And when we are with the tenant,
you represent the
landlord. Because in the tenancy agreement or lease agreement, the landlord has a covenant, a role to play. The tenants have a role to play. So exclusive enjoyment of that property that is being paid for through the payment of rent is very vital for the tenants. So the tenants have their own obligation, the landlord have their own obligation. Serving as intermediary between them, when you are with the landlord, you represent the landlord. There are some landlords that want to probably take decisions that will not be okay. We have some Shylock landlords.
Some irrational decisions.
Shylock landlords. And we also have recalcitrant tenants.
Yes.
So if you are working in between the two, you need to be fair. There will definitely be a point that will be aggressive. There will be a time that will be calm. Once you have tried, our job is more or less like the student union activity. They have 3 C's. As a student union member, you engage 3 C's. 3 C's. Consultation, consolidation, and confrontation. When you are talking to a tenant and the tenant is proving, you will try to talk to them, advise them, let them understand the role and the need for them to abide with by the covenants in the tenancy agreement. After that, you still talk to them. That's consolidation. If they refuse the first advice, you consolidate by letting them know the reason behind the advice you are giving to them. And if they refuse, it's confrontation. And that is when you serve statutory notice. The house does not belong to him. So he can only enjoy.
How do you determine how much a tenant pays? For example, somebody walks up to you and says he needs a 2-bedroom flat. So do you just give the person a 2-bedroom flat?
No.
Do you also check the sustainability of
that is what
payments?
I said. That when you walk into my office or into any estate surveyors and valuers office, the first thing they will start is the consultancy role. That's the advisory role. You have to listen to them. Where do you stay? What apartment are you staying? What type of apartment are you staying? How much do you pay there? Where do you work? When the burden on transportation and other demand is too much, the tendency for him to default subsequently is there. For instance, somebody staying at Agbowu now wants to move into Aerodrome. What about the demand? The security levy, service charge attached to properties within Aerodrome. He was paying maybe 500,000 at Agbowu. Now Aerodrome is 1 million. Almost double.
Yeah.
You look at the work. Stylishly, you just ask, okay, where do you work, sir? Where's the location of your work? What's the budget? How much were you paying at the other? Once you realize that it's more or less double, can this salary of a civil servant or any employee be doubled?
It's not possible.
It's not. So you can't just say because you want to enjoy or you want to improve on your class, you now want to move in there. Subsequently, it will default. These areas, tenant selection is part of our job. So not everybody that works in, you see people that works in their luxury cars.
So it's about psychology.
Psychology.
Psychology. Okay, let me ask you this question before, because we're trying to wrap it up. What can be done? Should government intervene, or is this just a market-driven issue?
Government will have to intervene in the area of
regulation.
Policies.
Okay.
Policies. And trying to support all these, our researchers, our scientists, to see alternative items for construction. We can't just say, okay, we want to be building, all houses have to build on bricks. We need to carry out research. Government should engage them, fund their research, and let's see what we can do locally to reduce cost of construction. Government should come up with so many policies to help the masses. And our members, fellow Nigerians, we should not be too greedy. I'm sorry to use that word, greedy, because we can't have a structure in place, well built, and expect the returns immediately. There is always a payback period, not immediately. And once you are able to get that money back, or no matter the number of years, the payback period, the property will still be there if well maintained. People should try to always have what we call sinking fund. We, as estate surveyors and valuers, we always advise our clients they should have a sinking fund. What is that sinking fund meant for? Meant for rehabilitation and maintenance.
Yes.
It's not every money that a tenant pay that you spend. No, there are spendable income, there are unspendable income that you have to save for the rainy day. So with that, people will be able to meet up with their obligation. Okay. As far as the property owner is concerned, and the tenant will understand that, okay, this is the way I come into this property. There's something we do. Most tenants doesn't like it, but we have to do it. We call it routine inspection.
Okay.
Either scheduled or unscheduled.
Okay.
Scheduled might be once quarterly, and I can decide to carry out unscheduled routine inspection by just coming to the property. One Saturday, maybe I've scheduled it in my own diary that, okay, just let me go to the neighborhood. Let me go and see how they are using the house. The scheduled routine inspection will give tenants
a notice.
That, okay, I'm coming so date. I want to check the NEPA bills. I want to inspect the facilities in the property and stuff like that. It might be just once in a quarter, or biannually.
Okay.
So, and on scheduled routine inspection, we open your eyes to some things. Maybe once they knew that you are coming, they sweep the compound and stuff like that. When you don't announce that you are coming, we give you the opportunity of seeing how the tenants are using the house. And the agreement is something I want to actually commend our lawyers. They keep improving in the agreement because of the conditions and experience over time.
Well, there's one last thing I want to ask, and it's a trend now.
Yeah.
But I know I'll still have you again very, very soon for us to look at that deeply. There's a trend now where every Tom, Dick, and Harry now has an estate. This issue of villa, estate, this is estate. Are these things in conformity with the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers?
Yes, it's not. Ours is just to advise. Okay. It's the role of the government. And once for instance, in Oyo State, there is a directorate saddled with that responsibility of seeing to the development, new development and other stuff. There's a directorate to that in the ministry where they have to ensure that people who wants to go on private residential estates, commercial estates, or whatever view, conform with the laid down principle of the state. The amount to pay, what is expected of them. So I think the government is working on that.
Okay.
So the government is. I want to say that on the issue of this agency, something just struck my mind now. The foundation really matters. Foundation of a thing really matters. And that has to do with the registration of farms. Corporate Affairs Commission, only us, they asked us, where are the certificates to back our registration up? You provide certificates.
Yes.
How do they register all these untrained people as a company? What certificate do they use to back it up during the course of their registration? These are things we need to know. So
you're saying the Corporate Affairs Commission is complicit?
I'm not, don't let me use that word.
Okay.
But they need to meet up with some things based on what is happening in town.
They need to upscale their requirements.
They need to scale. If you want to register a real estate firm, what certificate have you? If it's a corporate real estate firm, it goes beyond just the name registration. They will ask for the certificates. An individual cannot say, I want to have an hospital. Without having a medical person to be part of the board.
So you have your institution has to be a member of a board of any estate firm.
A member of the institution should be a board member of any
institution,
any company that has to do with registration, that wants to do registration.
Well, I wish we could just go on and on and on with this discussion. Many things to tackle, many issues to discuss, and shed some light on at this moment. Well, basically, if you're going to be an agent, just make sure you're a registered agent under the Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, and especially those landlords, that's property owners, and even tenants who are looking for apartments. Make sure you go to the right people, so you don't, in the street parlance, you don't be used for some Sakaman-J, as it were. Well, thank you, ESV. That's Estate Surveyor and Valuer. That's ESV, Ola Tanibola. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much. And on a final note, I want to say this, that we have been trying to reach out to the populace to sensitize them about the importance of engaging professionals. We have been to so many radio stations. Some members that are fourth victim have been calling, but we need to do the propagation. Every one of us. I want to I sincerely appreciate Dominion TV. I want to appreciate Dominion Radio. I want to appreciate all those people that have been working to ensure that all these, our so-called saboteurs, are put to check. Thank you so much. However, I want to state that we'll be having our week. The Nigerian Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuers will be having our
Don't
week
worry,
very
we'll talk
soon.
about that.
Thank
we'll
you.
talk about that. Let's keep this conversation going. Do follow us on all our social media platforms on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. The handle is at Dominion Broadcast. On the app X, it is at Dominion Cast. Visit our website at www.dominion.org.ng. My name is Chike Ubogu. Do have a great day. Bye for now.